Sandy Says Read. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Tonight we are going to do a continuation of the alphabet tag. And it's been a hot minute since I got back to this, but we're up to the E's, the letter E. All right, guys, this started over at Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff channel. He originated this alphabet tag a couple of years ago. As you all are used to, I'm late to the party on this tag, but I encourage you to go over to Jim's channel, which I will link in the drop down box below. I encourage you to go over to his channel, subscribe and follow him because he has all kinds of cool stuff that he does, but all of the alphabet tags start there. You can find them all. Let's dive in. The first prompt is, E is for elephant. What's the biggest book you've read this year? Now, I actually reread Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. And this one, it's how many pages? 726 pages, this one. Now, it's a reread, so does that count? I'm going to say it does. So rereading this one was, I think that's the biggest book I've read so far this year because of that 726 pages. But I also have been reading the Enchanted Realms box set. That one is about 250,000 words. I don't know what that translates to in pages because I haven't worked it out. I'm almost done reading that. It's a series of novellas. There's 13 of them. I'm almost done with that. So I haven't finished it. As soon as I'm finished with it, then I can say that that is the longest one I've read this year. All right. Moving on, prompt 2, E is for English. Who do you consider the greatest English novelist? I'm going to say Charlotte Bronte, of course. And you guys might think that I'm being kind of simple by choosing Charlotte because I talk about Charlotte all the time. But I think I talk about Charlotte Bronte all the time because I consider her so awesome. I mean, her Jane Eyre, her book Jane Eyre, it has stuck with me ever since the first time I read it. I mean, there are scenes in that book that just, upset me greatly. There are scenes in that book that just made me swoon, right? I mean, for that book to have had that kind of effect on me all of my life means she did a really good job with it. And then her book Villette, the last page of Villette has stuck with me since the day I read it. So I'm going to say Charlotte Bronte. I consider her awesome and great. All right, the next prompt, E is for experimental. Have you read any experimental books? I'm going to say that Stand on Zanzibar by John Brunner. I think that was published in 68. Yeah, because he won an award for it in 69. I think he got the Hugo Award in 69. He's won a few awards for that thing. Stand on Zanzibar, I consider experimental because it was very nonlinear, wacky. I encourage y'all to check it out, not just because it won science fiction fantasy writing awards, but because it's wacky and kind of prophetic too. You have to read it to see what I mean. Okay, E is for ebooks. Do you prefer physical books or ebooks? I prefer physical books, you guys. Obviously, I mean, you've seen the quick little tour I did, the bookshelf tour of this place. I prefer physical books. I love the feel of them. My host enjoys the tactile sensation. All right. E is for exploration. What is your favorite travel book? And I don't think that I read like travel books. I don't think I do. But I think that all books let us travel. That's kind of my philosophy about reading. Any book you pick up, you get to travel somewhere with those characters. So I'm going to say my favorite travel book is The Hobbit. E is for elf. What's your favorite fantasy creature? I think we can all say this together. For me, dragons. I've got dragons. I'm pretty fond of dragons. I like them a lot. There are trolls on the Gab social media platform who think I'm going to hell for that. Okay, E is for extraterrestrial. What's your favorite book about another world or your favorite planet, real or fictitious? And there are too many to name, too many to begin to name. So what I did is I picked up my The Sirens of Titan book by Kurt Vonnegut, because there is a scene in here that I'm going to read for y'all. This is the description of Mercury by Kurt Vonnegut. This is probably my favorite description of a planet. The planet Mercury sings like a crystal goblet. It sings all the time. One side of Mercury faces the sun. That side has always faced the sun. That side is a sea of white hot dust. The other side faces the nothingness of space eternal. That side has always faced the nothingness of space eternal. That side is a forest of giant blue-white crystals, aching cold. It is the tension between the hot hemisphere of day without end and the cold hemisphere of night without end that makes Mercury sing. Mercury has no atmosphere, so the song it sings is for the sense of touch. The song is a slow one. Mercury will hold a single note in the song for as long as an earthling millennium. There are those who think that the song was quick, wild, and brilliant once, excruciatingly various. Possibly so. There are creatures in the deep caves of Mercury. The song their planet sings is important to them, for the creatures are nourished by vibrations. They feed on mechanical energy. The creatures cling to the singing walls of their caves. In that way, they eat the song of Mercury. That is awesome. And that's probably my favorite description of a planet or of an extraterrestrial item. Okay, the final prompt in the E's is E is for Exodus. What's the most interesting book you've read about an Exodus? Now, other than the book of Exodus in the Bible, I'm going to go with The Exodus Gate by Stephen Zimmer. There are 4 books in his Rising Dawn Saga series so far. The Exodus Gate is the first one. He's got a 5th one that's with the editor right now. But I wrote down here, so that I wouldn't screw this up, I wrote down a virtual reality simulator that's actually a time travel device. That's the mechanism that's in the Exodus Gate that I found so cool. There's like a time travel element within the Exodus Gate, right? And it's just cool. It's awesome. I read this several years ago. I cannot find my copy of the Exodus Gate. I have looked for it before for one of these tags or one of these booktube tags I was trying to do, and I couldn't find it. So I'm wondering if it got lost during one of my moves. Something has happened to that book and it's no longer in my possession, I fear. So I need to just buy a new copy of it so that I have it. It's close to like 600 pages. I mean, it's a long, bulky book. I remember that. And it's one of those like science fiction, urban fantasy novels that you have to spend some time with it, right? It's deep, it's in depth, it makes you think. It's pretty good. Oh, and so that's why it's my favorite Exodus book. That's it, you guys. That's the end of the E tag. I encourage you all to do the E tag as well if you're doing these alphabet tags. Follow along here. Thanks so much for tuning in. You know what you have to do now. Thumbs up and click the bell notification icon so that you're notified next time I do one of these random things. And it's Duran Duran t-shirt day because it's Duran Duran Appreciation Day when I am filming this. Go listen to some Duran Duran. I encourage you to do that as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys.